They Terragrass immediately, so that's why I didn't click Woodhammer. That Hurricane does more damage than I'm comfortable with. Get rid of its leftovers. Origin Pulse misses Calyrex. That's good for me. And now they've got 2 ice weaknesses on the board against my Glacial Lance. Okay, before we get started here, I've made a simple content decision that I probably should have made a while ago. Up to now, I have generally mostly only featured teams from events in North America and Europe on this channel, and the reason for that is very simple. It's because those are the events that have streams that I can watch, so I can... I'm following a little bit more closely that they're happening in the first place, but also I can see some teams in the streams that catch my attention, see how they play, go in there, maybe look for some EV spreads or some basic game plan ideas. So those are the kind of the easiest ones for me to do. But as you know, if you've been watching the channel, I've been a little bit bent out of shape lately as a Canadian VGC player because most events in my own region are held in a country that has taken a hostile stance to my country and that I'm not willing to travel to right now, which really limits my options. I have a video that I'll pop up right now, I think, where I go over a letter that I sent to the Pokemon Company International asking for some changes to, in particular, the North America circuit. And I definitely would encourage people to check that out, and if you feel the same way, to contact them yourself, so it's not just me. But that's not what this video is about. The point here is I still feel pretty strongly about that situation, but I also, there's only so far you can go down that rabbit hole thinking about it before you realize that as a Canadian, I'm still in a pretty privileged position as a VGC player and a Pokemon fan. I'm in a region that gets treated relatively well by TPCI, even if there are some issues right now. That gets a lot of attention, that is generally not dealing with the same sort of history of neglect, the lack of even streams and whatnot, that some other TPCI regions have. The recent talk about adding Latin American Spanish to Pokemon games after all these years has also gotten this thought on my radar a little bit. And by highlighting only the events that have those streams that I watch, again, I don't have a big platform here, as always, but I'm kind of participating in that neglect a little bit, even if I don't really mean to. And so I want to not do that. And I'm going to, as long as I keep making these tournament videos, from this point on, make an intentional effort to feature teams from events in Latin America, Oceania, and Middle East, South Africa once that circuit gets going. And it starts with this video here. This team won the Brisbane Regional Championship this past weekend, used by a player named Diego Ferreira. And it looks a lot like a lot of the other very harder Trick Room teams that are doing well at events lately, like Vancouver and Stockholm. At a glance, I think this looks a fair bit like the Stockholm winning team, which I actually skipped over because it was so similar to a team I'd featured from Vancouver. But yeah, this one has some interesting text on it for sure. You've got the Trick Room trio of Ice Rider Calyrex, Ursaluna, and Torkoal, able to hit extremely hard, do a lot of damage in those 4 or 5 turns. Very nicely supported by Indeedee, which can set Trick Room itself, but also I found Indeedee extremely valuable when I was using the runner-up team from Vancouver because of that redirection with the Follow Me. So depending on the position, you can protect your other Pokemon. Actually, this Ice Rider doesn't have Protect, which is interesting. And you can set Trick Room with Indeedee, but very often I was just clicking Follow Me Trick Room. The Ice Rider was setting its own Trick Room, and then, yeah, on this team, Ice Rider, Ursaluna, Torkoal can go kind of crazy. Raging Bolt with an Assault Vest should be a bulky, hard-hitting Pokemon, difficult for opponents to remove, that brings a little bit more coverage to the team that we don't really have otherwise. Should nicely complement the ground and fire type stab attacks from the Ursaluna and the Torkoal. Also the Ice from Ice Rider Calyrex. I mean, Bolt Beam is tried and true attacking combination. That's the combination of electric and ice type attacks for a long time. They have very good synergy. Throw in ground, and you have something that a lot of people have been exploring in different forms in Reg G. Solid bit of coverage there. Weather control with the Torkoal's Drought. The Torkoal has Solar Beam, which is really interesting to me. The Calyrex having Imprison and Trick Room, I actually didn't notice until after I started recording. That's very interesting to me as well. And the last piece on this team that I don't really understand very well going in is Teal Mask Ogerpon. It is another redirector, so we have double Follow Me on this team. That can be very powerful for getting the attackers going. It has Taunt, which I'm not necessarily sure what that's here to shut down, but maybe I'll figure it out as I go. The combination of Woodhammer and Focus Sash is pretty unusual. Woodhammer, I assume, is to hit as hard as possible, but it does mean that The Focus Sash is going to be useless in some situations. I'm sure... I think it does make sense, because I think the Focus Sash is here so you can click Follow Me and not just drop immediately to the first attack that you take. But yeah, there's a little bit of anti-synergy with the Wood Hammer that could be interesting to play around. Otherwise, Teal Mask Ogerpon has Defiant before it terastallizes, so it can... I mean, the Calyrex has Clear Amulet, but it can at least help give the Ursaluna some cover from Intimidates. And after it terastallizes, its... what's the ability called? Embody Aspect, I think, boosts its speed. So there's not any Tailwind mode or anything like that on this team. Most of its speed control is just in the Trick Room, but the Ogerpon does have a way to go fast, I guess, situationally if you need. But those are all things that are kind of unique that Ogerpon brings to the table. No other Pokemon has that combination of Defiant, Follow Me, speed boosting, but I don't necessarily know what parts of that puzzle are the reason that it's here on this team. But like I said, maybe we'll figure some things out as I play with this team. But I imagine I'll... Oh, yeah, the builder doesn't like that, of course. I imagine I will be spamming Indeedee Calyrex stuff a lot. That's been proven very strong lately. That said, we got a Lunala in Game 1, and Lunala can have Wide Guard. I don't think very many of them are running Wide Guard right now, but I'm not 100% certain. This is a pretty unusual team. The Basculegion is interesting. The Driftblim is super interesting. Driftblim probably wants to set Tailwind, but... yeah, I don't necessarily know what they're doing from there. This could be a Tail Room team. The Lunala could set up Trick Room for itself, and Blood Moon Ursaluna is a classic Tail Room Pokemon, because it can play well in both. So, that said, it should be faster than my attackers, so getting Trick Room up here with this more dedicated Trick Room team should be fine. I am wary of the Wide Guard, but because I have a lot of strong spread moves on this team, but I don't know that it's going to have Wide Guard. But I think if I lead I think I can lead Raging Bolt. I actually don't have Snarl on this Assault Vest Raging Bolt. It has Weather Ball. Okay, in that case, I'm not that interested in Raging Bolt, actually. I could lead Ursaluna Indeedee. The question then is, are they threatening a KO onto Indeedee right away? Some of these Pokemon might be. Most of them are probably not. Maybe it's just Calyrex Indeedee. And we'll see if they have Wide Guard. I'll bring Ursaluna for sure. And Torkoal or Raging Bolt. I think I have enough for the Ursaluna, so I think into this I like Raging Bolt still. Okay, all that, and they lead Goblin Mode and Pooh Bear. So at least I don't have to face the Lunala turn 1. They can just rip off a big Hyper Voice. Of course, again, I don't have Protect on the Calyrex, so... I think I might as well just Follow Me in Trick Room. Or I can just Trick Room and Glacial Lance. That's an option too. But I'm a little bit worried about the Grimmsnarl throwing off a foul play or something, so I'm going to Follow Me Trick Room. Spirit Break. Ursaluna just rips a Blood Moon immediately. Indeedee survives that with the Psychic Seed boost, and now... Can I just Helping Hand? I don't have Helping Hand. This team has made a lot of choices that are just a little bit different from what I'm used to. It's going to be an interesting time. I think I just Glacial Lance, but I'll just Follow Me. Because I think the Grimmsnarl takes this relatively well, right? And then, oh, is it Sash Driftblim? Nope. So it just gets knocked out by the Glacial Lance. We get to +1, which will offset the Reflect that they just set. I was thinking about switching Ursaluna in there, and I guess I could have gotten away with it, but... I mean, I guess I could just click Follow Me with Indeedee until it goes down, or I can Psychic the Ogerpon here, but I think they probably want to Terra the Ogerpon, so let's just play it safe. Actually, Spiky Shield. This, I think, will KO Grimmsnarl. Yeah, so that's +2 now on Calyrex. If they Terra the Ogerpon, they resist the Glacial Lance, although it should still do a lot at this point. I just keep clicking Follow Me and Glacial Lance, I guess. And as soon as they Terra, of course, I get the super effective high horsepower, high haunts power into Ogerpon. Glacial Lance comes out first. One-shots Ursaluna. Ogerpon, yeah, is pure fire type now. It'll knock out Indeedee. There's actually only one turn of Trick Room left, but I can go Raging Bolt here, and I'm threatening the Thunderclap once the Psychic Terrain ends after this turn. For this turn, I'll just Thunderbolt and high horsepower into Ogerpon. I don't know why I did that. I knew it was Spiky Shield. I just took a little bit of damage on Calyrex for nothing. But now, I also haven't Terra'd. I can just Thunderclap the Ogerpon and Terra Dragon, high horsepower. And that's kind of overkill. Just one of those ought to do it. Okay, it narrowly survives the Thunderclap, but yeah. The Dragon-type Ice Rider Calyrex. Not afraid of that Ivy Cudgel. Ogerpon is knocked out, and that was just an Ice Rider sweep in the first game of the video. And that really shows how powerful the duo of Ice Rider Calyrex and female Indeedee is right now. We've got a Sun Psyspam team here with Venusaur. An Iron Crown, interesting. But again, if I can just get the Trick Room up, I'm in a pretty good spot. It could be Imprisoned Trick Room Indeedee. I think if it is, they'll just get me with that. That's pretty cool. But this is actually a little bit tricky for Ice Rider because they only have 2 ice resists, 3 after they Terra the Koraidon, but they have a lot of offensive threats into it. And I think enough that, although it is my Psychic resists along with Indeedee, so that's something. Maybe I can just lead Indeedee Calyrex again, but maybe I want to lead. It's just tricky because again, if Indeedee fails to get the Trick Room up and I've led Ursaluna with it, then I'm in a bad spot. I'm gonna try the Indeedee Calyrex lead. I'll bring Ursaluna for sure. That gives me a lot of coverage and Trick Room into this team, and I could probably bring Torkoal last. Especially if we force the Terra on Koraidon. Let's do that. Just go full hard Trick Room here. Okay, it's Venusaur Chi-Yu. I probably want to just Terra the Calyrex immediately so it'll resist a Heat Wave. Because it can't redirect that. So I'll just follow me Terra Dragon Trick Room. The Imprison tech on Calyrex I still don't completely understand. I guess it stops opponents from reversing my Trick Room, but that's pretty niche, and I doubt that's the only thing it's here for. But anyway. Let's see what they come up with for this. Of course, I don't have safety goggles on anything. They know it's not goggles in DD because the Psychic Seed activated. So they can just Sleep Powder it if they want. Overheat, misses Indeedee. That's convenient. They do Sleep Powder. That's actually kind of awkward for me then, because if it's Sash Venusaur, then they can put Calyrex to sleep this turn. There's not really much I can do about that. Indeedee won't wake up, but I'll click Psychic into Venusaur, and Glacial Lance does a lot to Chi-Yu. It is Sash Venusaur. Do they hit their Sleep Powder? They miss. Okay, so got lucky there. Overheat does a lot to Indeedee, but doesn't quite KO. And Glacial Lance just knocks both of these out now. I'm going to switch Ursaluna in. Have a very free switch to get its burn. And get that more offensive pressure on the field. But yeah, that was an unlucky Sleep Powder miss from my opponent there. I mean, that's what you risk when you run that move, but it's a much tougher game for me if they land that. I think. I mean, there are still ways that it can work out fine for me, but it's definitely not this straightforward if they connect. Get Ursaluna in. They go Ogerpon, so I'm going to break it sturdy now. Yeah. These are both at 1. I think I made Ursaluna slower than Calyrex, which is awkward here, because I actually want Calyrex to go first right now. So I'm going to protect Ursaluna just because I don't want it to take Calyrex's boosts away. They fail to double protect. They do get a spiky shield. They're stalling out the Trick Room turns, but taking a lot of damage in the process. Calyrex at +1. There's Koraidon. They might want to Terra that, but I can just rip a Headlong Rush into it. They actually can follow me with Ogerpon. If I had Protect on Calyrex, maybe I'd click Earthquake here, but I don't, so yeah, I'll just go for this anyway. They actually just go for a double spiky shield. They don't get it, but they do protect Koraidon, so okay, fair enough. What do they have on Koraidon to hit my Calyrex? Well, okay, Trick Room ends here. I don't have Protect on Calyrex. They can do a lot of damage to it. But I think I'm fine to just click Earthquake here, right? And then if they focus on damaging Calyrex, then they're not stopping Ursaluna. They actually knock Ursaluna out with a close combat, but I forgot they'd already Terra'd the Chi-Yu. Did they do that turn 1? Did they do it now? When did they Terra Chi? Oh, yeah, it was turn 1. Okay, I just missed that. So, anyway, Glacial Lance knocks out both of their Pokemon. Nice. Ice Rider Calyrex is just so strong. I know it's had some down moments in the meta, but there's a reason it keeps winning right now. We got a Terapagos team here. Kind of an odd-looking Terapagos team. Tail Room. And probably just a well-balanced attack. Could be Specs Terapagos. Okay. But again, the thing about Tail Room teams right now is that they're just not as slow as Hard Trick Room, so... Unless the Farigiraf imprisons my Trick Room, which it might. I might do that. I might be able to just set it up and win like I've been doing so far. So, Indeedee Calyrex lead hasn't let me down yet. I'll bring Ursaluna and Torkoal again for just maximum Trick Room power, and we'll see if they stop this somehow. The fact that they led Farigiraf makes me think that they might well have the Imprison. Wait. If I click Imprison on Calyrex, can I imprison their Imprison? Is that what it's for? Is that why this Calyrex has Imprison? I'm down to try that. Oh, wait. If I imprison... Okay, Imprison only works on opposing Pokemon, so I think I could click Imprison with Calyrex and still get the Trick Room with Indeedee. That's what I'm going to try to do here. Terra Dragon to take a Surging Strikes. Okay, they taunt Indeedee. Fair enough. Oh, okay, they just tried to click Trick Room, so they could have reversed it, except I didn't get my Trick Room up. I'm still in a weird position here because they can taunt Calyrex now, but let's just Glacial Lance and Psychic or Shifu. Get damage on that. Yeah, they're not going to let me get Trick Room up here. A Foul Play on the Giraffe, but that Psychic knocks her Shifu down to its Sash, so now it's KO'd. Glacial Lance did half to Farigiraf. I don't have Trick Room up, but... I've terrestrialized Calyrex, so the Terra Starstorm is a threat now. Terapagos will be faster. Okay, yeah, not getting Trick Room up there is pretty bad for me. Do I let Calyrex go down here and try to win with my other two in the back? I don't think so. That's not my instinct, at least. Let's break their Terra Shell, and I think Ursaluna is less important here than Torkoal. There's a Stellar Terra, so they don't have Terra Shell anyway. Get a big Terra Starstorm into both my Pokemon, but I get the Psychic off. Taunt is over. Indeedee doesn't take another Starstorm, though, and I wouldn't bet Calyrex does either, so I think I've messed this one up, but I'll click Trick Room just in case. No, I think I just lose. I think I just get swept by Terapagos now. Whoops. Oh, Indeedee survives, but does Farigiraf attack? It does. Okay. Yeah, I just get swept by Terapagos now, I think. So that just wasn't the right way to approach this matchup. Alright, well, we'll get at least a couple more games. They got me with the Taunter Shifu, and of course, this doesn't really simulate the regional experience because an open team sheet I would know going in that it has Taunt, but it's hard to play around too because it was so threatening to my Pokemon in the back. Maybe I needed, both of my Rapid Strike or Shifu answers were the two Pokemon I didn't bring, Raging Bolt and Ogerpon, so I probably just needed one of them that game. Person rejected open team sheets, and they have a pretty unusual looking rain team. Kyogre is a big threat. Although, again, if I terrestrialize Calyrex, the Terra Dragon Calyrex feels really good on this team, because I can just... I can resist its spread moves after that. I've led Indeedee Calyrex every game so far, but I think I might do it again. Alternatively, I do have the Ogerpon option. They don't have priority Tailwind on this team. I could lead Ogerpon Calyrex, I think. And then I kind of like Raging Bolt, but I mean, they have 3 water types. They do also have Lightning Rod, Rhyperior, I assume. But they have no Dragon Resist. Torkoal is okay here. Ursaluna's not that great here. I mean, maybe it's useful into the Gudra. But I'm going to try Raging Bolt and Torkoal. Okay, Zapdos, Kyogre lead. I'm just going to go straight for a Woodhammer into Kyogre. They could Terra Grass. Maybe I should knock off Kyogre. That'll remove its item. So if it's like Specs or Mystic Water or something, that'll weaken the damage. I'll knock off into Kyogre and just Terra Dragon Trick Room. They Terra Grass immediately, so that's why I didn't click Woodhammer. That Hurricane does more damage than I'm comfortable with. Get rid of its leftovers. Origin Pulse misses Calyrex. That's good for me. And now they've got 2 ice weaknesses on the board against my Glacial Lance. I'll follow me so that if Zapdos survives, the Hurricane goes into Ogerpon instead of knocking out Calyrex. They bring Gudra in. That should still take a lot, right? Yeah. Yeah, and Calyrex gets to +1 now. So Gudra's going to take even more, and they can't Terra it. There's the Politoed. I kind of want to just target a Woodhammer into that, but I'm worried that it might have some like Ice Beam or something for Calyrex. I think I was just going to click Glacial Lance Woodhammer here, but they take the decision out of my hands by forfeiting. I get some quick games with these Trick Room teams, which can be nice at a regional because you get some downtime. You can go get a snack or something. Here's standard Miraidon stuff. So surely this team is a matchup for this because you wouldn't go and win a regional without that matchup, but that doesn't mean that I know what the matchup is. But I mean, Trick Room Trick Room stuff is pretty strong here, as usual. With Indeedee, I can turn off their Fake Out or any priority taunt they might have. So I think Indeedee Calyrex lead is okay. I'll bring Ursaluna. It's very strong into a lot of their team, and so is Torkoal strong into some of the other pieces, I think. Yeah, we'll try this again. Maybe that makes me too weak to the Urshifu again, and I'm not learning my lesson, but we'll see. They lead me right on Whimsicott. They're not threatening priority with the Whimsicott. I think I can just follow me Trick Room here pretty safely. Don't want a Terra because they probably have Dazzling Gleam Miraidon, and also I just don't think I need to commit my Terra in this position. And since they didn't lead Farigiraf, I don't have to worry about Imprison Mind games. Yeah, Indeedee takes those attacks pretty nicely. The Miraidon will be choiced. The Whimsicott could be sashed, but I think more likely Covert Cloak. I don't have Helping Hand. I feel like that's the second time in this video that I've realized that. I was going to say, I'll click Helping Hand and Glacial Lance, but I don't have Helping Hand. So I'll just click... I can just follow me Glacial Lance, I think. I was thinking about Psychic-ing the Whimsicott in case it has a Sash, and that actually would have worked out well, but no Focus Sash, as expected. Get Iron Hands in. They can't Trick Room. Or, I mean, they can't Fake Out. Iron Hands can be slower than Calyrex because they have the same base speed, and I made Calyrex faster than Urshifu. So, follow me again, and... I think I'm fine to Glacial Lance. They Terra the Ogerpon. That's not surprising, but it does make the... it does mean the Miraidon can't turn off its Ice weakness. However, we missed the KO on Iron Hands here, and Calyrex just gets knocked out by an Ivy Cudgel, so that Ice weakness is not really relevant anymore. I have 2 turns of Trick Room left. The Ogerpon is the only Pokemon they have that can protect, though, most likely. So, I'm down to just... I think they click Spiky Shield here, but I'll Facade the Ogerpon anyway, just in case. And Eruption will pick up the Iron Hands. And then, yeah, as long as I get 2 KOs on the last turn, I still win. Miraidon won't be able to protect. Ogerpon can go for the double Spiky Shield, 1 in 3 chance that it works. Even then, I don't think Ogerpon beats both of my Pokemon after that. Maybe it does because it resists Torkoal's attacks. But how do I get 2 KOs here? Actually, Torkoal is not that good into this stuff. Torkoal is slower than Ursaluna, though, so the way I get 2 KOs is like Earthquake and Eruption. As long as they don't get the double Spiky Shield, I'm fine, but they do. Yeah, but Earthquaking my own Torkoal but it would KO both of their Pokemon except the Ogerpon survives. However, Torkoal actually survives the Earthquake. So the Ogerpon can't just knock me out here, but I still think I lose to it. Oh, but I haven't used my Terra yet, so I can at least turn off Ursaluna's Grass Weakness and hope that it takes a hit. Just Headlong Rush and Flamethrower. There goes to the Ursaluna. They Ivy Cudgel, though, which is, yeah, definitely the correct call there. The Sun Boost, the damage is fine. And they'll knock out Torkoal here. So 2 out of 3 times I win that game. If they just don't get the double spiky shield. But they did get it, and that's how it goes sometimes. I'm not sweating that one too much. But we are in the 1 in 3 timeline. This opponent has a Tentacruel. That's pretty strange. Don't know what it does here. It gets Rain Dish, right? And Clear Body, Liquid Ooze. None of those are really amazing abilities on it. Just getting the Calyrex going feels pretty good again. This team, unlike the last rain team, though, this one does have a Tornadus, so they can set Tailwind immediately if they want. They also have the Bleakwind Storm spread option, so Follow Me is not as strong this time. And what do I really mean? What I really mean is I'm not as keen this game on leading Ogerpon and attacking the Kyogre right away, because they can set Tailwind and they can get Kyogre's attack off first. So I think Indeedee Calyrex here. Kind of like... I don't really like Raging Bolt. They have a lot of answers to electric types here. I actually kind of like Ursaluna, because Kyogre's not that physically bulky. They have 3 ground... Half their team is weak to ground. It is awkward when the other 2 over here are immune, but I think Ursaluna has a chance to do some stuff. And I'll bring Torkoal, and if I'm wrong about the best way to approach this, so be it. They lead Tornadus Kyogre, pretty much as I expected. Yeah, I'm going to Follow Me? Question mark? Yeah, I don't know if it'll... I could Heal Pulse Calyrex, actually. Because I think they're going to click spread moves. If Tornadus won't necessarily attack at all, but if it does, it'll be Bleakwind Storm, most likely. Some of them... I've seen some of them on the ladder running Hurricane, but that's not what I expect. Kyogre will click a water type spread move, so I'm actually going to Heal Pulse into Calyrex, Terra Dragon, Trick Room. Yep, Bleakwind Storm, Water Spout. Both Pokemon survive, which is good. I get the Heal Pulse. The Kyogre has not Terra Grassed, however, I will just Psychic and Glacial Lance here. This should KO Tornadus, unless it has a Focus Sash or it Terras for some reason. They also can switch it out. Yeah, they do, to Tentacruel. Kyogre is Protect, so it's not choiced. Still no Terra. I want to keep getting damage on Kyogre if I can. I don't know what the Tentacruel is here to do. I can Follow Me, or I can Psychic something. I think I'm going to click Psychic into Tentacruel and hope they don't have a way to punish that. They just Protect. They're stalling out my Trick Room. But I get some damage on Kyogre here. And it's just Origin Pulse. Okay. Indeedee going down isn't great because they're stalling out my Trick Room pretty well here, but I get Ursaluna now. I'm threatening the grounded type attack into Tentacruel. I'm going to... Am I going to protect this turn? I think I need Ursaluna to be one-shotting things. It'll probably knock out Tentacruel, right? But then just drop to an Origin Pulse. Alright, I'm going to Facade and High Horsepower into Kyogre. They switch it out to Tornadus. I do no damage this turn. That sucks. Okay, I do some damage this turn. I clicked a normal type attack on Ursaluna, not a ground one. Just kind of brain farted there. Psychic Terrain is still up, even though it doesn't look like it, so they can't fake out this turn. This is my last big chance to get big damage on the board. I'm going to Facade, Raichu, and Glacial Lance. They can switch their water types in if they want. They'll still take some damage. And it's good that they didn't bring our Chaladon. I think I like that for me, but it's still going to be tricky once the, well, Trick Room is over. I don't really get to find out what the Tentacruel does as it gets knocked out there. We also knock out the Tornadus. However, Kyogre now gets in with speed control in its favor. So does it just sweep me is a question. They also can fake out now, and I don't have Protect on Calyrex, so I'll just click Protect and Trick Room and hope it works out. But I'm not confident that it will. But we'll see. I don't know what their play is going to be. Maybe they try to fake out Ursaluna and like Origin Pulse. That would be the dream for me. They do actually go for the fake out into Ursaluna. I guess they thought Calyrex would protect for sure, but I don't have it, so... Here... I'll just Facade into Kyogre, I think, and Glacial Lance. Raichu protects. Kyogre doesn't. It gets knocked out by the Facade, and... Yeah, Raichu is not beating all of this, plus Torkoal in the back, and they forfeit. If they'd faked out Calyrex on turn 6, then I don't see how I win this. But they went for the fake out into Ursaluna. I think probably reading a Protect on Calyrex. Again, very different from a regional. If this were open team sheet, they would know that Calyrex doesn't have Protect. But yeah, the lack of information actually working in my favor this time. We got another Ice Rider team here. No Trick Room setter except maybe the Ice Rider itself, but this is some kind of bouncy Tailwind team. So Hard Trick Room might be able to feast on that. I also see a lot of ice weaknesses here. I think Indeedee Calyrex lead is okay once again. I'll bring Torkoal. And maybe I should bring Raging Bolt instead of Ursaluna to this one. I don't know. Ursaluna is strong into... I don't know, some stuff. I'll bring Raging Bolt. Helps me deal with the Rillaboom a little bit better, and maybe the Urshifu. Still thinking about that Taunt Urshifu in that one game. Okay, they lead Tornadus Flutter Mane. They cannot taunt Calyrex with Tornadus. I think Flutter Mane gets taunt, but... I'm just going to follow me Trick Room. This way, if they Shadow Ball, it does nothing for them. Dazzling Gleam shouldn't be knocking anything out. Bleak Windstorm shouldn't either, plus they have to actually hit if that's what they click. So just redirecting a possible Shadow Ball away from Calyrex does a lot for me here. They switch their own Calyrex in. It's Dazzling Gleam. Crits Indeedee. I get Trick Room. I can Heal Pulse here, but I think I'd rather Psychic Flutter Mane and make sure I get big damage into it. Ah, it protects. Okay, Heal Pulse would have been nice, I guess. They'll knock out Indeedee and they'll crit my Calyrex. They get a Chilling Neigh boost. I don't have one, but I guess here I go Torkoal and I just click big spread moves. And if this is Terra Water Calyrex, it can resist both of my attacks here, but any other Terra type, it's kind of pinned. They just protect. I get Eruption into Flutter Mane, and then Glacial Lance. Now my Calyrex is at +1. I still have 2 turns of Trick Room left. Who's coming in? Tornadus. Psychic Terrain still up. Eruption, Glacial Lance. It is Terra Water. Okay, the only... Oh, and they have Rain Dance. Nice. But yeah, the only Terra type I couldn't pin, so... That's a little unfortunate for me, but... I mean, good building choice by them, I guess. Torkoal actually survives the... high horsepower, but now they have Rillaboom in. Both of my Pokemon are protectless. They can freely fake something out. I'll just go for... I mean, I guess I'll go for Clear Smog into their Calyrex, but really I'd rather land this high horsepower into it. They fake out Torkoal. Once again, an opponent does not fake out the Ice Rider Calyrex. And that probably enables me to win the game just by itself. They're down to just Rillaboom now. I get Raging Bolt in. I'll Dragon Pulse, Terra Dragon, Glacial Lance. Once again, that gets a lot scarier if they fake out the Calyrex there. And I think in open team sheet, there'd be no reason for them not to do that. So I'm getting a very weird perspective on this team, using it in closed team sheet, best of 1. But it's been strong, that's for sure. Got another another Terrapagos team. This one with a Moongus and Iron Bundle. So a Moongus could make my day a little bit sad. I do have Ogerpon, so I have redirection that works on grass types from a Pokemon immune to Spore. I can use Follow Me to neutralize their spores if I bring Ogerpon. But yeah, the Terapagos is tricky, especially with this one also having Hearthflame Mask Ogre Pawn. I have to be more careful than I was in the previous Terapagos game to... about terastallizing my Calyrex. I have to be very deliberate about that if I'm going to do it at all. Is Torkoal slower than Amoonguss? I think it is. Yeah, so I definitely bring Torkoal to this, I think. I think I just do Indeedee Calyrex or Ogerpon Calyrex. Ogerpon Calyrex might be nice because, again, I have the follow me if they lead Amoonguss, but also I can get a knockoff into Terapagos. And no matter what its item is, pretty much, that'll make it harder for it to have a good time in this game. So I'll lead Ogerpon Calyrex, I'll bring Torkoal for sure, and I think I'll bring Ursaluna. Raging Bolt isn't bad here, but I'm going to go with Ursaluna. They lead Amoonguss or Shifu, so yeah, oh, it's Single Strike or Shifu. That's a little bit scary, but yeah, having the Grass-type Redirector is pretty nice here. I'll just follow me, and I think I'm okay to Trick Room. The Urshifu, Single Strike Urshifu is not great when I didn't bring in Indeedee. It means that I have no cover for Sucker Punch, but they just protected and spored there, so they accomplished nothing that turn. I have a pretty safe follow me again. Ogerpon's Focus Sash even is still intact, and I just Glacial Lance. It doesn't quite KO Amoonguss, but also Calyrex was slower than Amoonguss. So they're not running min speed. That works out nicely for me. Follow... don't want to Terra Ogerpon, there's no need for that. Follow me, Glacial Lance. Both these Pokemon get knocked out, so they're in some danger here. They go for the Sucker Punch, but it's redirected by the Follow Me. Urshifu goes down, Calyrex gets to +1, Amoonguss is protected. Still 2 turns of Trick Room left. Calyrex being slower than their Amoonguss has been amazing this game. Terapagos gets in here. Yeah, it says Calyrex is slower than Amoonguss. I don't have to follow me here. I can do something else if I want. I think I'm down to just knock off the Terapagos after a Glacial Lance. I guess the other thing that Teal Mask Ogerpon specifically brings to this team is that you terastallize. If you terastallize it, you get an even stronger Woodhammer. So maybe this team wants a big Grass-type damage into something, but I still haven't figured out what. Anyway, Amoonguss goes down, get to +2. They tear a Starstorm into Ogerpon, I guess expecting another Follow Me. But that's fine. I'll get Torkoal in here, because Ursaluna isn't burned yet. It's the last turn of Trick Room, so I want to just attack. So I'll just click Eruption and Glacial Lance. They terastallize the Terapagos. That'll turn off the Sun, but I mean, Eruption is still a strong attack. Protect Iron Bundle. But if I knock out Terapagos here, and who am I kidding? I definitely do. Iron Bundle is not going to 1v3 from there, and it looks like they did forfeit. Another Ice Rider Calyrex sweep. That Pokemon is looking incredible in this laddering session. And it's not the first time on this channel. It's a really good Pokemon, turns out. I'll probably have to work with it some more when we get double restricted, whether that's coming in the next few days or next season. We get a Koraidon Entei team here. This looks like an aggressive Tailwind Sun team. Looks pretty scary, but I don't know what they have for a Indeedee Calyrex lead. With Ursaluna and probably just Torkoal. I mean, they even helped me set up the Sun here. Yeah, we'll just go the full Trick Room mode here. They rejected open team seats immediately, though, so maybe they have a trick up their sleeve. Okay, it's Koraidon Entei, so I can't just Glacial Lance this. Probably. I mean, they'll probably Terra the Koraidon, although I guess making them prove it is valuable. But for turn 1, I guess I'll just follow me Trick Room. Simple. They do Terra the Koraidon. They actually one-shot Indeedee. So they can get a Sacred Fire into Calyrex now, and they do, and then it one-shots. Okay. Alright. Oh, it's Terra Fire Indeedee. I guess I needed to Terra Indeedee that turn. Yeah, makes a lot of sense, actually. Terra Fire, you resist both those hits. Indeedee probably gets through this turn, and I get Trick Room up. So, I just lose to not having done that, I think. Ah, good to know. Let's see if they let me get a max power eruption. Of course, it's resisted by both of their guys. But they do go for the collision course into Ursaluna. Then they Sacred Fire Torkoal. If that's how they're playing it, though, then Ursaluna can get through this turn with the Terra Ghost. But then what does it do? Honestly, I'm just going to click Earthquake. Probably knock out my own Torkoal, but... honestly, why not? Do we avoid the collision course? They Sacred Fire Torkoal. Torkoal's pretty weak anyway. Ursaluna will KO everyone else on the field. And can it 1v2 their last two Pokemon? Probably not, but let's see. Yeah, I think we just get knocked out by Fluttermane here, but let's try not to. Okay, we get knocked out by Ogerpon. Nope, we get knocked out by our own burn damage. Hey, in the end, it was only a 1-0 loss. Ursaluna almost pulled that one back by itself, but yeah, it's a very different game if I just Terra Fire the Indeedee turn 1, and that was sloppy of me to not do that. I'm having a lot of fun with this team, but I've played a lot of games here already, and that is loss number 3, so I'm gonna call it there. But Ice Rider Calyrex Trick Room. There are moments in this format where it doesn't feel like it's very well positioned, but when it's good, it is so good. I don't think there's any team I enjoy. I don't think there's anything I enjoy more in Regulation G than Ice Rider Calyrex when it's actually well positioned in the meta. It just rips through teams, and it's been a lot of fun to do that with it in this video. And again, might have had another chance if I just clicked the Terra Fire this game, but yeah, I'm gonna call it here. This team is so much fun, and while this team is pretty typical of what's winning events right now, there are some definitely more unusual teams from Brisbane that I think I'll probably check out in the next couple weeks. So by all means, subscribe and stay tuned for those.